President Muhammadu Buhari signs 982 billion naira supplementary 2021 budget. Fiscal Responsibility Commission says Nigeria's macroeconomic management depends on states and local governments. Nigeria's revenue to GDP ratio lowest, says the World Bank. Plus Asia Pacific stocks edge higher. China tech stocks in Hong Kong remain under pressure. This is Business Express and we are reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Leah Katun. Baba today. Good morning and welcome to the business of the day. President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to the supplementary appropriation bill recently approved by the National Assembly. The sum of 982 billion 729 million 695,343 naira as approved by the 2021 supplementary budget is mostly targeted at arresting developments in the health and security sectors. State House correspondent Gideon Ifade reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2021 in the presence of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, Director General, Budget Office of the Federation, Ben Akabeze, and Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Umar El Yakub. Of the amount, 123.3 million naira is for recurring non-debt expenditure, while the sum of 859.3 billion naira is for contribution to the Development Fund for the capital expenditure for the year ending on the 31st day of December 2021. President Buhari commended the National Assembly for the expeditious consideration and approval of the supplementary budget, assuring that the executive arm of government would ensure the timely delivery of capital projects to achieve the laudable objectives of the budget.
All the security outfits in this country will benefit from the bill because of Mr. President's commitment in converting crimes and indeed insurgency and all the security challenges facing the country. So to that end, this bill is very important and it has been assented to. Another critical area of concern is the health sector, which of course we know with the pandemic there is need to invest in that sector as well. The President has, having assented to the bill, you'll find that molecular laboratories, about 10 of them, will be established nationwide, oxygen plants nationwide, and some rehabilitated, especially the ones in Abuja, as well as procurement of vaccines.
Meanwhile, the President has also signed the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Amendment Act 2021. The Act amends the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act Cap 010 laws of the Federation 2004 to provide for the establishment of the Orthopedic Hospital Jos, Plateau State.
The World Bank says Nigeria's revenue to gross domestic product ratio, which fell between 5 and 6% last year, is the lowest in the world. The country director for Nigeria World Bank, Dr. Shubham Chowdhury, said this during a panel session at a virtual public sector seminar with the theme Nigeria in Challenging Times, Imperatives for a Cohesive National Development Agenda in Lagos. Chowdhury, who stressed the need for private investment for the country to realize its potential, said the private sector in the country is struggling to breathe, but noted the aspiration of President Muhammadu Buhari to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by the end of the decade as a welcome development. The Fiscal Responsibility Commission says it will continue to work with all states of the Federation towards ensuring prudent management of the nation's resources, ensure long-term macroeconomic stability of national economy, and secure greater accountability and transparency in fiscal operations within a medium-term fiscal policy framework. Chairman of the Commission, Victor Muraoko, said this during a study visit of Benue Fiscal Responsibility Commission to the federal body in Abuja.
You will also benefit from the network we have built over the years with other intergovernment agencies. This visit will also introduce you to the Nigerian fiscal responsibility ecosystem, as you will have the opportunity to meet, interact with, and learn from sister organizations.
Our role is to ensure that the rule, the law, the act is implemented in the state by way of ensuring proper accountability and open governance.
Let's see how the Naira is faring alongside other major currencies. Past President, the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, Okechukwu Onegbu, has urged the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN's Monetary Policy Committee to focus on policy decisions that will curb rising inflation and stabilize the Naira. Okechukwu Onegbu said the depreciation of the Naira had become inexplicable considering certain indices that were supposed to strengthen and stabilize the currency. He added that the MPC should do a comparative analysis to know the effects of the parameters on the economy, having retained the same parameters for about 6 months. Well, now the 288th MPC is in its second and final day in Abuja, and in a few hours we'll get to hear their stand. But what are the issues before the committee, and how will prevailing fundamentals affect the outcome of the meeting? Joining me from Lagos is Johnson Chukwu, the CEO of Kauri Assets, and he joins us via phone. You're welcome to Business Express, Mr. Chukwu.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. And how is the weather in Lagos?
Well, the weather is very clement. The suns have been covered by this cloud. So it looks cloudy, but it's not raining yet.
Oh, great, great. So for starters, what are the domestic factors shaping this particular MPC meeting coming from? We're seeing rising inflation, of course. We're seeing the foreign exchange market, how it's affecting us locally, and of course, a lot of so many other fundamentals, food prices. So in your expert opinion, what is it we are facing?
I think there are two major factors we are contending with. One is, like you said, the high rate of inflation, which interestingly has moderated in the past 3 months. But beyond the rate of inflation, one of the critical factors we have to consider, or the MPC has to consider in taking a decision, is the slow rate of economic recovery. As you know, the first quarter GDP figure came at a rate of 0.51%, which is far below our population growth of about 3%. So the critical factor that the Monetary Policy Committee members must consider is, how do we improve the rate of economic recovery or economic growth? How do we tame the rate of unemployment? And how do we drive further the decline we witnessed in the past 3 months in inflation rates?
Okay, so of course the GDP figures, as you have also pointed out, well, on the positive side, but very, very marginal. So looking at the recovery journey now, slow, you have also stated rightly. How do you see policy decisions like the MPC boosting the recovery beyond what we have now?
Well, normally, if you want to stimulate economic recovery, what you need to do is make credit available at a lower cost. But unfortunately, that policy will also have the unintended consequence of reversing the decline we have in inflation rate. So basic thing is that you want to stimulate consumption, you want to stimulate productive activities. So to stimulate consumption, you lower interest rates so that people can go at cheaper cost and consume. You also lower interest rates also affect those who are producing, because it makes them easy to set funding at cheaper cost and go into productive activities. So those are the measures you take when you want to start up economic activity.
Okay, so what do you make of the various intervention initiatives of the CBN, and how critical are they to this recovery path?
Well, if you look at the growth in the manufacturing sector GDP in the first quarter of this year, I think it could actually be largely attributed to the interventions of the central bank. The fact that they provided about 1 trillion naira to the manufacturing sector, the fact that they provided about 50 billion naira to the small and medium scale enterprises, those are impacted positively on the manufacturing sector GDP growth rate in the first quarter of this year. But we also have to contend with the fact that there are also structural challenges we have to deal with in the economy. Some of those things are beyond monetary policy tools.
Okay, so we're having some external factors also telling on the economy. For instance, we're seeing global oil prices. We're seeing them rise, recording a first weekly gain in a so long time recently. So what would be those factors that would also come into play before the end of today?
Well, what they look at how the global economy is doing. We've seen, for instance, the U.S. economy is entering an expansion phase, so which will indicate that the demand for commodities, including crude, will remain quite strong, which is why even after OPEC increased daily crude production by 400,000 barrels, we saw the price dip slightly and recovered almost immediately. So when you look at the fact that the global economy is expanding and the level of administration of COVID vaccine has almost, in places like UK where they have achieved 65%, they've opened their economy. So you're going to see consumption being restored in Western countries, and that will trigger or stimulate demand for commodities. So we should expect that to have an impact on our crude price and our crude oil earnings, and hopefully that will help to stabilize the exchange rate.
Okay, do you see the MPC, the CBN, taking some extraordinary steps along the lines of existing initiatives after this meeting and perhaps for the rest of the year? We're seeing the CBN, as you've mentioned, doing a lot in manufacturing, doing a lot in agriculture, along with the Bankers Committee. Do you see something dynamic coming out after today?
Well, I think rather that we should expect the status quo. The fact is that, like I said earlier, the economic recovery is still very fragile at 0.51%. So I don't think they would take any measure to constrict credit flow or increase lending rate further, so that could affect the economic recovery we are witnessing today. On the other hand, I also do not think they would take measures to fight inflation. If you lower interest rates, that will automatically lead to injection of liquidity into the economy, and that could lead to a reversal of the 3-month trend we witnessed in inflation. So I think the most likely thing is that they will want to keep rates at their current levels.
Okay, I must thank you, Mr. Johnson Chukwu, for making out time to join us this morning. Mr. Chukwu is the CEO of Cowrie Assets in Lagos. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So on COVID-19 survival is a story of a photographer, Oche David, as put together by Musa Abubakar.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yeah, it really affects us because there is no mix-up. You can't celebrate and you can't go out. You are locked indoor. And our business is something that has to do with crowd, because we always go for coverage, we always go for interview, we always go for celebration. So since there is lockdown, there is restriction, we can't go out to shoot. So we are indoor. So our business, there is nothing we could do. Now our business is getting back to normal. Because now we can mix up with people, we can go out, we can move from one place to the other. So the business is picking up small, but the effect is still showing a little. Yeah, people are complying, they are getting it, but when you try to, they will tell you, you have to bring this, you have to bring that, you have to bring that, and most of those things, we don't have those things. Another lesson I also learned from COVID-19 is you don't need to have one source of income. Because during the lockdown, some businesses were closed while others were open. So if you have different sources of income, maybe yours might fall into the one that we are allowed to open, like food stuff that people are allowed to sell, because we can't do without food, like healthcare.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Some serious lessons there for Chair. Now we move on. In line with its job creation agenda, the federal government has over the past few months engaged multilateral agencies and the private sector in creating special opportunities for young Nigerians. Another initiative between the federal government and the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund is offering expanded education, training and employment and targeting 20 million young Nigerians between now and 2030. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, in a message delivered at the official launch of the Generation Unlimited program in Nigeria, said the initiative will positively impact the country's future job growth enabling programs. The Generation Unlimited program, he noted, is important as it promises to provide 20 million Nigerians with digital skills, link them to entrepreneurial and other job opportunities, and assist them in realizing their full potentials. Vice President Osinbajo commended private sector partners for their innovative work with young entrepreneurs throughout the country and for their commitment to Generation Unlimited Nigeria, which will be implemented in 12 states distributed across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. The program has impacted more than 100 million young people globally through innovations and programs in more than 40 countries across 6 continents. Now, Made in Aba products have been determined to currently compete favorably in the global market. However, the manufacturers have identified areas of intervention to enable them achieve the much expected prosperity. Neka Onu reports.
Aba is gaining international acceptance from manufacturing of bags, shoes and clothes. In recognition of these potentials, Abia State government in 2017 sponsored 30 youths in shoe making and how to master machines for other local productions, a venture which paid off, with the German government signing an MOU with the state government in 2018 on export of leather-made shoes.
Under the governorship of Governor Kezipa, so I was among the people who trained outside China on shoemaking and how to use machines.
Remigius Emenalum, a 70-year-old manufacturer who has put in 43 years in shoemaking, explains that sustaining his business has been challenging, though he has successfully mentored 11 youths through the business.
Apart from my own workers, I still have other workers outside my workshop who help me in doing certain areas.
I get 4 apprentices and 2 job man. Job man is 1,500, apprentice is 700 every day.
The acceptability of Made in Aba products is visible in its patronage in most African countries, Europe and America.
We actually export. I have some clients. I have someone in New York I sent to. I recently made a backpack used for an NGO, about 400 pieces. I have another client in Australia too that I also send things to.
I'm coming from Benin. We are trying in terms of work because even China, they are not doing what Aba what we are doing. So I'm really happy the way they are doing. Their work, if you buy it, it will last even more than the China.
Lack of equipment for enhanced production and accessing affordable raw materials are some of the highlighted constraints to scaling up the market.
We really need machines to perfect what we do. Then finances, because we're always trying to get better and we're trying to be able to compete with the international markets.
If somebody gives you an order of 1,000, yeah, you will die with it. Maybe you will work it up to 3 months before working it up. But it's what if you have equipment, only 1 day or 2 days, the contract is up.
The local manufacturers, however, have become more proud of their products by stamping their own labels.
We are telling them that we are doing a quality show in Aba. That is why we are changing the name, and I can do my show with my own name.
Made in Aba products, just like any other local production, members of the business community insist can take over the local and international markets if government intervention is prioritized with deliberate policies and grants for the sector.
Gold prices were steady on Tuesday, pinned below the key $1,800 per ounce level as investors turned cautious ahead of this week's U.S. Federal Reserve meeting outcome for clues on when the central bank might rein in its easy monetary policies. Oil prices were steady on Tuesday, with investors betting tight supply and rising vaccination rates will help offset any impact on demand due to surging COVID-19 cases worldwide. Brent crude futures climbed 13 cents to $74.63 a barrel, extending a 0.5% gain on Monday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 4 cents to $71.95 a barrel after losing 16 cents on Monday. We move straight to the stock market, where Nigerian stocks opened the week on a positive note. The all-share index advanced by 0.47% on the day, while the investors gained more than 94 billion naira, and that is the starting figure this morning. Outside home, Asia-Pacific stocks edged higher. China tech stocks in Hong Kong remain under pressure. Boste Abel reports.
European markets look set to pull back slightly on Tuesday as investors continue to monitor corporate earnings, along with extreme weather and the spread of COVID-19 across the continent. Britain's FTSE is seen around 23 points lower at 7,025.43. Germany's DAX is set to slide by around 42 points to 15,061.98, and CAC 40 of France is expected to edge around 9 points lower. Shares in Asia were mixed in Tuesday trade as several major Chinese tech stocks in Hong Kong remain under pressure following a tumble on Monday. The broader Hang Seng Index in Hong Kong fell 0.49. The Hang Seng Index slipped 2.97%. Mainland Chinese stocks fell, with the Shanghai Composite down 2.28%. In the U.S., stock futures were lower in early morning trading on Tuesday ahead of quarterly earnings report from several mega-cap technology companies. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average declined 64 points. S&P 500 futures and Nasdaq 100 futures traded below the flat lines. Stocks in Africa are yet to post numbers this Tuesday morning, but they are struggling to maintain momentum of the first day of the week when most of the markets on the continent posted gains. Boss Able, Business Express.
And of course, all market players will be watching out for the outcome of the 288th edition of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, which started in Abuja yesterday, and we'll be rounding up this afternoon, and NTA will be bringing that to you live when they are ready to speak to the world about key policy decisions that will be shaping the financial sector and the broader economy in the coming months. That wraps this edition of Business Express. Remember to keep in touch with us, so do send in your comments, observations and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns Wednesday at 3 p.m. Be safe out there. I'm Leah Katun. Baba Tunde.